Hi and welcome to this free video tutorial series from Pro Tools Expert, looking at the Dolby Atmos home entertainment workflow. In this series so far, we have covered the initial technical setup of Pro Tools and the Dolby Atmos production suite to avoid mixing yourself into a corner, Avid and Dolby's recommended aggregate device setup, our own exclusively developed alternative workflow, tips for how to manage loudness in your Atmos mixes, and best practice for using up mixers and 3D reverbs in your Atmos mixes. In this final episode, we come to the end game, creating and mastering your Dolby Atmos home entertainment mixes. Before starting this, ensure that your Pro Tools and renderer is set up as per the previous videos, that your aggregate device and drift correction are set up, and that the renderer is receiving timecode correctly from the Dolby LTC plugin and is set to the correct frame rate. As with everything Atmos, the secret lies in extensive preparation. If you're delivering an Atmos mix to picture, then the first step is to ensure that you are working to the final video file that is exactly the same length as the final video delivery file and includes any logos or stings plus the correct length credit roller, without any extended lengths of non-action at the end. You need to find out the FFOA and LFOA, which stand for first frame of action and last frame of action. This is because your finished master Atmos file has to be the exact same length as the video file that will be delivered to the distributor. The master Atmos file cannot be edited in a video suite, though it can be edited using Dolby's Dolby Atmos conversion tool, which is a free utility by Dolby that allows you to convert from one format to another, change the FFOA, or add extra files without the Dolby Atmos production suite. However, it's always best to get this right first time. To demonstrate, I'm using a short student film that I recently mixed in Dolby Home Entertainment Atmos called Image Nation by Angela Santalbano and Solia Cates. It's a simple mix, but ideal for demonstrating this task. In your Pro Tools Atmos mix, select the video file and make a note of the FFOA and the LFOA. Then go to the Dolby Atmos renderer. Before creating a new Atmos master file, be sure that your input config and object assignments are correct, as once you have a master file open, these cannot be changed. Once you're certain of this, select File and New Master File. This will bring up a menu where you can give the Atmos file a name and also define the location of that file, plus enter the FFOA. I would recommend that your Atmos master file is saved to a separate high-speed drive from your Pro Tools session and video files. This is because the Atmos files are very large. This 7-minute film takes up over 4 GB alone. Once you create your file, in the top right-hand corner, the renderer will show the name, location, the FFOA, and the start and end timecodes. You will see that these are currently blank. This is because you have yet to record anything into the renderer. To the right of these is a blue arrow icon. If you click on this, it opens a new box, which gives you the options to lock the master file or change the FFOA. Go to the Record In/Out box to the right of the transport controls. Click the switch icon to allow you to enter the FFOA and LFOA timecodes. This will enable the renderer to automatically drop in and out of record according to timecode. Then go back to your Pro Tools session and set up a pre-roll. I find that 5 seconds is a good value. Go to the Options menu and turn off Loop Playback if you have this enabled. Before we go ahead with recording the master file, as this process is quite processor intensive, now's a good time to check that you only have the very essential programs running on your system. Hold Command and Tab to see what programs you have running. Close any browsers or non-essential software, and if you have any background apps such as Live Backup or Cloud Synchronization, turn those off as well. It is also worth going into the preferences in the Dolby renderer and switching off anything not totally necessary. If you're using headphones, consider switching headphone processing off, and if you are, consider switching to stereo rather than binaural, as this demands far less processing power. Once you've done this, click on your video file in Pro Tools, then go to the renderer. Click on the record icon, which will now start flashing. It's very handy to have at least 2 screens during this process, but not an absolute requirement. Then go into play on Pro Tools, and as the timecode rolls through the FFOA point, the Dolby renderer will automatically drop into record.
Nothing's more important than your image, and no network is better at keeping you connected. Our elite prove that perfection does exist.
I sped this part up so you can see the renderer dropping out of record at the LFOA. That has created your Dolby Atmos master file, which can then be sent to the picture department to create the video master. However, in most cases, you will still need to produce a 5.1 or stereo flat mix, which will often be to a different spec than the Atmos master needs to be. This can be achieved by setting up which re-renders you need and exporting them. Go to your Dolby renderer and select Window, Re-renders. This will bring up a menu where you can set up whichever re-renders you need, providing you've set up your bed and object groups correctly, as per the first episode of this series. Say you need the print master plus dialogue, music and effects stems in 5.1 and stereo. In the layout box, select which type of re-render you require. A tip here, if you require your 5.1 re-render to match the loudness as displayed in the renderer's loudness meter, select the loudness layout. Then click on Properties. This will allow you to rename the re-render, but most importantly, select what it is made up of. For this one, I'll call it Print Master and select the Full Mix option. As it says, this gives you the full mix as you heard through your monitoring. If, however, you need separate stems, when you make a new re-render and select Properties, you then need to select the Custom option. This will allow you to construct your re-render from any of the groups you originally set up. In this film, I have separate dialogue and narration groups, but for the purposes of delivering the dialogue, music and effects stems, both the dialogue and narration count as dialogue. Repeat this operation for whichever mixes and stems you require. Once you have set up all your required deliverables, click Accept on the Re-renders menu. To export your re-renders as WAV files, select File, Export Audio, and Re-renders. The Export Re-renders menu will come up, where you'll be given the option to choose from the re-renders you have set up, whether they're in interleaved format or multi-mono, and whether they're the entire master or a selection defined by timecode. Set your file name, choose where you want to save these exports, then press Export. These exports can then be sent direct to the distributor or imported back into your Pro Tools session for further processing, checking, or renaming if necessary. So that's the end of this series of tutorials about using the Dolby Atmos Production Suite, the Dolby Audio Bridge, and Pro Tools to mix in Dolby Atmos home entertainment. I hope you found it informative and entertaining, and if you have any questions, please do feel free to leave them in the comments section of the article this video is with, and I'll try my very best to answer them for you. See you soon.